Hey guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's 9 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. As you can see, I'm still dressed. I just got back from a 6-mile hike in the woods. This is one of those days where I got so excited with a train of thought, with an idea, that I practically had to run back here. Didn't even take off my clothes before I got in here. Didn't even take off my hoodie. I wanted to get this down on video. Let me tell you my train of thought. This has got to do with universal basic income and the natural nature of human beings and automation and robotics. All right, stick with me here. I started out thinking about the difference between Republican thought and Democrat thought. A lot of times Republicans, we talk about this stimulus and a lot of other things. And it really seems as though the Republican, the conservative side really seems to have a low opinion of human beings in general, that we need a carrot dangled in front of us, that we're naturally lazy, unmotivated beings, and we need this carrot dangled. First of all, to get money for a roof over our heads, then for money for health care, for food, and the carrot always needs to be dangled. So we work, so we slave, so we're in the pits slaving away, and that seems to be the Republican. It's a very low opinion of human beings, that we're lazy. And you think of the Democrat side, and I agree with this, that we're by nature, human beings are motivated, creative, imaginative, driven creatures. And I thought about this more. Think about when we were kids. I think about when I was a kid. And this is where drugs and alcohol come in, and it's all a big vicious circle. Now, before drugs and alcohol, before anybody gets into that, when we were kids, I used to get out there. You couldn't stop me from getting on my bike. I would build forts all day long. I would build dams in the river. I would draw maps and explore caves, and that natural drive. We all had that as children, and I don't think we ever lose that. I think once we enter the workforce and the way things are situated today, a lot of people end up in jobs that they are very unhappy at, that they are not reimbursed adequately for. And I think that's where drugs and alcohol come in a lot of this. I'm going to get to the whole drugs and alcohol thing at the end. Everybody always hear about, working for Friday, work hard, play hard. Going out on Friday nights, Saturday nights. I remember, and I was the king of this, man. I always felt like I deserved this, and then I deserved that. I was the lead the lead guy when it came to working hard, playing hard. And drugs and alcohol sap. I think it's a vicious circle. It saps your motivation. It saps your creativity, and that's what tends, I think, to make human beings less productive and less motivated, is substance abuse and depression and mental health issues like that. Okay, now I started thinking about this automation and robotics. Okay, over the last 40 or 50 years, 30 or 40 years ago, I went to school for 4 years for architecture, for electrical and mechanical engineering. I worked in an architectural office. There was about 7 architects that had graduated out of Yale, Brown, Cornell. There was about 5 of us architectural draftsmen. There was a civil engineer. There was an interior designer. And these were all well-educated, well-paid people. And there was at least 15 people in this architectural office. Okay. Now, you want to know what that office looks like now? There's one architect. There's probably the IT guy. Maybe 1 or 2 computer operators, a couple consultants, and that's it. And look at restaurants like Burger King, Stop and Shop, with the new I don't even know what they do, but I don't know if they clean the floors or whatever, but those robots that move around Stop and Shop. Who puts together TVs? Who puts together cell phones? More and more, this tedious work, this work that requires no motivation, no imagination, is done by robots and automation. But here's the thing. Who's getting the profit from that? It's at 1% at the very top. This is one of the reasons why we have this huge income, this huge wealth divide that grows exponentially. I was reading how, Warren Buffett made $30 billion or more in just the last few months of 2020. $40 billion in just the last couple months. He went from, 200 billion to 230 or 240 billion, worth that much. Imagine that. And this is how it happens. More and more, our jobs are going to automation and robots, the tedious jobs. Technology and our civilization is just moving in that direction, that we don't have to be bothered by this anymore. We have robots and automation do this. But here's the thing. All of society is not benefiting from this. The only people benefiting from this are the ones at the very top, the top 1%. They invest in the renewable power for this automation, these robots. They invest in the initial investment for the technology, and then they have no overhead. They don't have to pay robots wages. They don't have to pay robots for the automation. They don't have to pay wages for any of this. Where does that profit go? It certainly does not go back to the people. It goes to the very top. And they become the super wealthy, this huge gap. And this is where universal income could come in here. Instead of when more of this technology, more of this tedious assembly work, whatever, goes to robotics, that money should go to universal basic income, back to the people, back to the country, and be paid for universal basic income. We should reap the benefits of, we are the ones losing our jobs by the tens of thousands to robotics, to automation. And then on top of this, we're fed these lies that it's the people south of the border that are taking our job. It's all their fault. It's always somebody else taking it. No, it's not. It's robotics and animation. And the reason they don't want to tell you this, they want to lie to you, is because they don't want to share these profits with you. Those profits go right up to the top when they could be used to be shared with all of us. Basic automation. Now back to that architectural office. My job and 10, 12 other jobs are gone now, because it started out as CAD, and then it got so advanced that a computer could basically, you just give it some basic ideas, and the computer designs the house for you. You don't even need an architect, except for the very tip-top creative concept of these buildings. We all should be able to benefit as civilization moves forward. As our civilization moves forward, we should all reap the benefits of having this labor done for us. Universal basic income. And this is where me talking about people not being lazy comes in. At that point, once you have a universal basic income, you can enjoy your job. You could say somebody that's good at working on cars. This person could now go buy his own garage and work on cars, own his own business, and he has the income, the universal basic income, to invest in his own garage. And it's something he loves doing, something he enjoys doing. You have artists like me that could start galleries. You're going to have more happy, satisfied people that aren't going into to the slave mines to work and toil all day underneath a boss who is not appreciative, to a system that doesn't pay you, doesn't reward you for your benefits. And when those things happen, what do these people do? They go to alcohol and drugs, and then you get this vicious circle. If you don't feel, if you feel like you're being used, you're this 9-to-5 job that you don't like. I love what I do. I would paint all day, even if I didn't sell any paintings. That's what the whole world should be like. And that's what the whole world could be like now, because we need to reap the benefits. They need to share the benefits of this technology that's taking over a lot of our jobs. This is why we should have universal income, because our jobs are being done. A lot of these jobs, these menial tasks, are being done for us by robots and automation. The more happy, creative, imaginative, driven people you have, the happier society you have. The less likely you're going to have people that want to do this all day long. If you're doing something you love, you don't even want to go home at 5 o'clock. You want to keep doing it till 9 or 10 till you go to bed. You don't need to go out and have 6 or 7 drinks at 5, right when the whistle blows at 5. You know, you're happy. You don't need to get away anymore. You're happy and satisfied and creative. The work is the reward at that point. Plus, you have the money to invest. This is a perfect society. And it's just going to move more and more in this direction with robotics and animation. More and more people are going to lose their jobs. Sooner or later, people will realize that it's not the brown skin guy or the people in this country or this religion or whatever that are taking your jobs, that are making you a slave all day. It's the very top 1% that are reaping the benefits of all of our technology right now and not sharing it with any of the rest of our civilization, our country, the world in general. They're just reaping the benefits. They have no more overhead, no more need to pay these wages. And they could just buy themselves their 50 yacht, their second island. And sooner or later, this system is going to collapse. It's going to become obvious that a lot of us are toiling and slaving away just for the benefit of a very few ringmasters at the top. My thoughts for a universal basic income. Plus, it would help with mental health and substance abuse. Once people are satisfied and happy and rewarded and feel good about what they do, you don't need substances to get away from a miserable life anymore. Some thoughts for universal basic income. Robotics, automation. Think about it. All right, you guys have a good Sunday.